Giving all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rukah Kodash. Shalom to the 144,000 elect out there. Shalom to you all. Anyway, I'm going to entitle this video, The Grecians Were Israelites. The Grecians were Israelites. So I'm at Acts chapter 6 and 1, which says, and in those days when the number of the disciples meaning students, was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews, because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration, because they had come together as a commune, and the people that had land, and so they sold it and they made everything common. That's where you get the word, the communism, from. The communism started with this right here. It's called a commune. Like if you have your wife and you have 12 children, you get more than a husband and a wife, or a husband and a wife with one child. So they got everything from the scriptures. So the word that I wanted to go into was the word Grecian. You might think of the word Greek, capital Greek, or Greeks, or Grecians. And because you don't understand the scriptures and you don't go into root words, you look at the word Grecian, and then you'll equate the word Grecian with the word Greek. And the word Grecian, and we're going to find out that this is back to the basics, by the way. We're going to find out that the word Grecian, the root word, goes back to the word Greek, which can mean other nations in general, and Israelites that don't know that they're Israelites. Like Cornelius. Cornelius would be classified as a Greek because when he grew up, there's no backstory on him. His family, his father's, his parents and his great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents got caught up in that mess with Antiochus Epiphanes. You got a lot of these brothers teaching from various camps and so forth that Cornelius was the northern kingdom. No, he wasn't the northern kingdom. He had to be from the kingdom of Judah that got caught up, that messed with, like I said, during the time of the Maccabees. Timothy's father was a Greek, meaning he wasn't no Edomite, because the Apostle Paul's not going to allow an Edomite to be a part of his him pushing out this gospel. Well, you can see the difference, because his mother was a Jew or a Jewess, and the father was a Greek. He was a white man. Now, the Apostle Paul commended Eunice, what was the other one? Lois and Eunice, which was, I always get the names mixed up, but one Lois and Eunice were mother and daughter. So, you know what I'm going to do? Let me do this. Let me just do this. Let me go to Eunice. Let's see what comes up. Eunice. Okay, I think maybe I spelled it right. Let's see. I don't think so. I know it didn't come up right. Okay, let's do it this way. Okay, nope. Bear with me for a minute. Let me try it. Let me do this. Let me do this. Okay. What was Timothy's mother's name? Bible. Okay, Eunice. So her mother or his grandmother was named Lois. It doesn't give you the precept, but let me. Okay, let me just read this. Eunice, biblical figure according to the NT, the New Testament. Eunice was the mother of Timothy and influenced his faith in the Messiah. Born into the Jewish faith, she and her mother, Lois, accepted Christianity. Then they got a cracker. Devils, a fucking devil. Okay, so let me do this. Okay, we don't even got to go to that. So Eunice is the mother and Lois is the grandmother of Timothy. And they were Israelites that accepted, that followed Yahushua, the apostles. And the apostle Paul, I can read it here, but I want to go to the King James. So now if Timothy's father was a Greek and they think he was a white man, then that would make Timothy a white man, even though he looked like his mother and his grandmother. That means other nations could come in. No. Timothy's father was a Greek, meaning an Israelite that didn't know he was an Israelite or didn't accept the fact that he was an Israelite. You could be raised up in a family of Israelites and your parents are Israelites and you raised up in that tradition, but you want to be a part of the Roman military, and you might have had a Roman wife and you denounce it. That's what this man did. Alexander, I always get his name. Alexander, I always forget his name. There's 3 names. It'll come back to me. But it'll come back to me. So let's go here. Tiberius Alexander. It comes back to me. As a matter of fact, you know what? So since I got this scripture, let me do this. Tiberius Alexander, 70 AD. Let me try it again. Tiberius Alexander, 70 AD. There he goes. Tiberius Julius Alexander. So let's do something here. Okay, I can read it here. Tiberius Julius Alexander. Now this guy was an Israelite, but he denounced being an Israelite to go up in the ranks of the Roman Empire, and he was responsible for killing a lot of Jakes. So it says, so the real general was not Titus, but was Tiberius Julius Alexander, which came up under Titus' father, Vespasian, because he was an experienced military man. Titus was not. It says Tiberius. See, if you go deep into, if you think like a Christian, you don't know none of this stuff. When you read these scriptures, especially dealing with the New Testament, if you go to Acts 17, for example, and you read the word men of Athens, you ought to think of a white man with a toga on or whatever. Now you got to go into the history. The word Stoic and Epicurean comes up and also mentioned in Acts 17. So if you're a Christian that knows the Bible, when I ask you about a Stoic or Epicurean, what's that? And they'll say, that's not in the Bible, and you show them that's in the scriptures. So they don't know. The only ones that have a deeper knowledge are the ones that, went to these theological cemeteries. So it says Tiberius Julius Alexander, 1st century, was an equestrian governor, and he went up as high as being he went past the Senate. You have the rank and file would be Senate, Council, then Caesar. So the highest rank in the Roman Empire was the Caesar, the emperor. Then you had council, but you had more than one council. Then you had Senate. So he was over the Senate. He was a rank higher than the Senate. In general, in the Roman Empire, born into a wealthy Jewish family, Israelites. And he was of Alexandria, which you had the Alexandrian Israelites. That was the biggest group when they, during the 3 times of the year, Deuteronomy 16:16, the biggest group that came to the Passover, or to the Passover, the Pentecost, which is the weeks, and the tabernacles, that was the biggest group that came out. So they would notice. So it tells you that he was. You know what? Let me do this. Let me do this. 70 AD. Should give me some more information about him. So if you're really about the scriptures, you gotta understand some history. Okay, I want to get some more information. Okay, Tiberius Julius Alexander was a Roman general and governor. They should have said council, because that's what he became, a council. And general and governor, who played a key role in the Roman siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Meaning he came against Israelites, so he was killing them, and he was putting out orders to kill Israelites. But he was raised up as an Israelite. He raised up in an Israelite family. So you had some Israelites that knew that they were Israelite, but saying, I don't want to be no Israelite. I want to be a Roman. Married an Edomite woman, a Roman woman, a background born into a wealthy Jewish Israelite family, I should say, in Alexandria, Egypt. Alexander was a general, a governor of the Roman Empire. He was the second procurator of Judea, so he had a high rank. The elder well, not the Zakbar, I was watching some of it, which led me to, I was watching some videos. I also came across a video that was put up by the elder out of head of Dallas, Yashawamba, and he did a video dealing with the same subject. So I'm watching them too. I didn't get a chance to watch any of some of the video. So I said I got to do a video now. You know, it says he was the second procurator of Judea from 46 to 48 A.D. and the governor of Egypt from 66 to 69 A.D. 66 to 66. That's when what's his name? Nero was in rule. So he came up under Nero. You had the year of the four emperors. You can look that up. And one of them committed suicide. The other one was killed. And there was two that was killed, and one committed suicide. And they say that the two that were killed, the person that was behind all that, that's what historians argue over, was Vespasian, right? So he came up under, he went from coming up under Nero to eventually coming up under Vespasian. So Vespasian set him up to really be the head of the siege, but on paper, his brother was his son was the head of the siege. Okay, it says in 70 A.D. Alexander was now. If y'all gonna go out and see this movie, the Denzel movie, Gladiator 2, you brothers out there, you look at it with a scholarly cap on, a historian cap on. Okay, it says in 70 A.D. Alexander was Titus' second in command. He was a second in command on paper, but he was really the main guy. He was the one that was experienced in war, and a lot of Israelites were put to death because of this ninja right here. It says in command during the Roman siege of Jerusalem, the Romans destroyed the second temple and looted its sacred context, which took their gold and their silver, showing you that the priests had the gold and the silver. That showed you, because you got some stupid Israelites out there. Oh, you tithes, you can't give money to the tithes. Some stupid black Hebrew Israelites. You can't give money. You got to give, you got to give the shoulder. You got to give grapes and wheat and all that. When they raided the temple, where did all that money come from? Were the priests entrepreneurs? Were they playing the stock market? No. The people were giving tithes according to the money. The money changes. What was that all about when Yahushua whipped them? Because they had to pay tithes and offerings when it came from out of state. I might even go into that. No, brother, that's you going off to her. They didn't deal with money. Bunch of dummies. Bunch of morons. Moronic. It says, and the governor of Egypt from 66 to 96, siege of Jerusalem. In 70 A.D., Alexander was Titus second in command on the temple. So they didn't take wheat. They said, "Oh, get that wheat, get them grapes." They took the money, man, and that money went towards. I got to go to the backstory on that. Was towards that financed the the Colosseum, which back then was called the Flavian. What was it called? The Flavian Amphitheater, because that was considered a public work. Like you go to certain cities and towns in America, you have a public works department, which they got that from the Romans. when they built structures, they had a public works department, so you can understand. The Romans destroyed the Second Temple and looted its sacred contents. So go back to the money changers when Yahushua whipped them. They were called money changers for a reason. Because the priest, the high priest, the priest was getting actual money. So they had to take their coins. If they had a Greek coin, they would take they couldn't give the Greek coin to the priest or the priesthood. They had to exchange it to the as Bill Still would say, the half shekel of the temple. So what these guys were doing, these priests and so-called people that sat in Moses' seat, what they did was, it was called price gouging. It's called price gouging. They would raise the price up. Then after the High Holy Day, they would bring the price down. So they were ripping people off. Like I said, you had to give them the shekel, which is money for you boneheads out there that you think you know the scriptures and don't. Alexander held the rank of the Praetorian prefect. Now the Praetorian Guard, they never had no real loyalty for the Caesars, because a lot of the Caesars that was put to death by the Praetorian Guard. Like the soon-to-be emperor would do a deal with them. So there was a lot of corruption among the Romans. There was a lot of death, a lot of sex scandals. These were just wicked-ass people, just like they're wicked-ass people today. One of the most powerful positions in the Roman Empire. He was also instrumental in the rise to power of Emperor Vespasian, because remember, he had a high up position, this Jake, under this guy, I was going to say Trump, Nero. Family Alexander's father was also named Tiberius Julius Alexander, which are not Hebrew names, and served as chief customs officer. So he probably got that from his father. His father was high, had a respectable rank in the Roman Empire. His brother was the philosopher Philo. Okay, historian. You got the book of Philo. And his youngest son was Marcus. Let's see what else I can find here. In 70 or 70 AD, he participated in the killing of Jerusalem at Titus' second in command. As Titus' second in command, he became the most powerful Jew of his age and is ranked as one of the most prominent Jews in military history. So now, when you deal with the centurion who needed his servant to be healed, see, that's a white man. That's a Roman. And Paul was a Roman too. Because it said he was a Roman. He was a Roman. No, dummy, he was a Roman citizen. But he was an Israelite. So that's it on that. I gave you a little bit of history. So now let's come back over here. What is it? 2 Timothy 1, verse 5. When I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is in thee, which dwelt first in thy grandmother. So the Apostle Paul is bigging up Timothy. He said, man, you got strong faith. You up there, man. You special. Which dwelt first in thy grandmother Lois and thy mother Eunice, and I am persuaded that in thee also. You got that same spirit that your grandmother, your grandmother and your mother. But this guy was the Edomite. No, he wasn't the Edomite. His father, being a Greek, Acts 16:1, he was an Israelite. He was and he was probably a military guy. Wherefore I put thee in remembrance that thou stir up the gifts of the Most High, which is in thee. So we all got a gift in us, but it's got to be stirred up by the putting on of my hands. Let me read on. For the Most High have not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And when you're teaching the mark of the beast is a microchip, not a microchip, slipping with the tongue, is an embargo and it's sin in all of its forms, sleeping with white women, that's not sound. Sound meaning healthy. Let's go into the word sound. Sound. If you're not sound, you're non-compos mentis. You don't have a competent mind. Okay, let me see. And admonishing or calling of soundness of mind to moderation and self-control, moderation. Sound also means discipline. You know what a lot of people do, especially women, they come into Israel, different Israelite groups, they'll come into Israel and be in there for a couple of years, then they'll come out and they'll denounce everything. She's still a sister. What's her name? Something Blue, Gina Blue. She's doing a lot of videos exposing, the IUIC, but she denounced everything about being in Israel. So she puts us in the same pot. So we're all messed up. We're all bugged out. And they anti-Semitic, meaning what? That if we say we're Israelites, that makes us anti-Sem to the small hats because they say that they are. So what did she do? She threw the whole thing out. So she's just a regular black woman. And then there's many other women and men that do that. When they leave the truth, they just throw the whole Hebrew Israelite thing away. Don't be joining them. You went to one camp and you're going to condemn all the camps. You don't know about GMS. You don't know about ISU. You don't know the inner workings of ISUPK or Sakari or any other group. You don't know them workings, man. So, anyway, let me come on back. This is why you got dumb Israelites. No, Cornelius was one of the Israelites. He was a white man. He was an Italian band. This is why you got to have that blue letter, man. These guys in the IUIC, they get in. No, the other groups use blue letter. Everybody uses blue. Genesis uses blue letter. ISUBK, I believe they use a blue letter, if I'm not mistaken. The big head Prince of Power, he used a blue letter. Where do you think he got it from? That's why he said the Grecians, Hellenistas, because he clicked on the cracker saying the word in Greek. You phony baloney. Anyway, so let's go into this. But he still can't get the understanding. Now, I'm going to go into, and in those days, when the number of the disciples was multiplied, it went from 120 to 1,000 to 3,000 to 5,000. Then you had the 7 churches of Asia Minor. So there was thousands of Israelites that woke up to the fact that they were Israelites. There arose a murmuring of the Grecians. So we're going to look up the word Grecian again, against the Hebrews. Wait a minute, man, you got Grecians? Those are other nations. Nope, the Israelites. Against the Hebrews. The Hebrews were the Israelites that grew up as being Israelites because their widows were neglected in the daily administration. It was like a form of welfare. Even Peter and the apostles got money that they can deal with. That's why the man that wanted to be healed, he was a beggar, and Peter said, silver or gold we have none, but whatsoever we have we give to you. And what they had was a spiritual power, and they healed the guy, the individual, which was an Israelite. Yahushua, whoever he healed and raised were all Israelites. The woman at the well was not an Israelite. He cursed her out, and the disciples cursed her out. But the Syrophoenician woman, the woman was a Greek, Syrophoenician by nation. She was an Israelite, because if she was of another nation, Yahushua wouldn't heal her. Okay, so now we're gonna go into the word Grecian. It's not gonna be too much longer. Back to the basics. Back to the basics. Grecians. The word is Hellenistas or Hellenistes, however you want to say it. Hellenist. And Hellen goes back to the Greek culture, to be Hellenized. And this is what Antiochus Epiphanes was doing to the Israelites back there. He was Hellenizing them, forced Hellenizing them. Meanwhile, before he did that, you had Israelites that were already Hellenized, and they wasn't forced to be Hellenized. They just thought, I like this culture, and they just followed the culture. One who, now listen at this. They're gonna break it down the right way. One who imitates the manners and customs or the worship of the Greeks, and use the Greek tongue or language used in the NT New Testament of Jews or Israelites born in foreign lands and speaking Greek, or any land or any language that they speak, but they still maintain the fact that they were Israelites. So now you have, let me come down here. So anytime you see this word G1675, you know it's talking about Israelites. So we just read that, Acts 6:1, Acts 9:29, and he spake boldly in the name of Yahweh. The word there is Kyrios, which means Lord in the Greek. Yahushai, and disputed against the Grecians, but they went about to slay him. So who was he disputing against? Let's open this up. Get the context here. Back to the basics. So it begins to preach the Messiah, which is the Apostle Paul. Okay, let me just go to the 28th verse. And he was with them coming in and going out at Jerusalem, and he spake boldly in the name of Kyrios Yahushai, and disputed against the Grecians. Who were the Grecians? They were Israelites that were born outside of Palestine. That were, let's use the land Greek, Alexandria in Egypt. But they came three times in a year. So what was the Apostle Paul preaching to them? Let's come back over here. Saul began to preach Yahushua. So what was he telling them? He was telling them that the Messiah came, but they didn't accept it. So they said, we're going to kill this guy. That ain't the Messiah. We're going to kill this guy. So now let's come back over here. Acts 11 verse 20. And some of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene, which when they were come to Antioch spake unto the Grecians. These were Israelites that were born, that was not born in, Palestine, Jerusalem, Israel, the land of Israel. But whatever land that they were born in, they were raised up as being Israelites, preaching Kyries Yahushai. So let's go up a couple of verses. Okay, let me highlight this. Let me check this off. Okay, the church at Antioch. Oh, then it says they were called Christians first in Antioch. Why were they called Christians first in Antioch? Because the apostles, in this case, Apostle Peter, he started preaching about Yahushai. So they call these people. They said they called them Mashiach Yah, or followers of the Messiah. The church at Antioch, right? Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that rose about Stephen, traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus. Cyprus is today is called. Is it called Cyprus today? It was Kittim. I believe it's still called Cyprus. It's a little island southeast of Italy. And Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only. And some of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene, which, when they were come to Antioch, spake unto the Grecians, the Israelites that were born outside of the land, preaching the word, Kyrish Yahushai. And the hand of Yahweh, or Kyries, was with them, and a great number believed and turned unto Yahweh. So who turned unto Yahweh? The Jews, which were Israelites that were raised up, born in the land, and you had Israelites that were raised up and born outside of the land. So they were saying, yeah, this makes sense. We're going to follow Yahushua. That's how the numbers grew bigger and bigger. So now when you go to the word Greece, the root word is Greek. The Greeks are the Israelites that didn't know that they were Israelites. Like, for example, Cornelius would be categorized as a Greek, not necessarily a Grecian. So as he grew up as a man, he said, "No, I think I'm one of these people." But like I said, his parents, there's no backstory on it. His parents raised him up as a heathen. So he probably didn't have a beard on his face. Maybe he had tattoos on him. He wasn't circumcised. There was a big controversy among Israelites that wasn't circumcised. Those Israelites that wasn't circumcised were obviously Greeks, Israelites that didn't know that they were Israelites, caught up in that mess with Antiochus Epiphanes during the time of the Maccabees. Anyway, with that, it's on to the next one. Shalom.